Alright, a new week means we have a bunch of new spicy deck lists to talk about. Remember, all these decks either hit King of Games, went on a win streak at the Legend or King of Games rank, or they had success in a tournament in some way or another. So, leading off, we have a Dark Gaia deck here. This is a King of Games deck. Now, Dark Gaia is the new fusion monster that we have for Evil Heroes, or one of the new fusion monsters for Evil Heroes, I should say. Now, you can use any Fiend or any Rock-type monster. You need one of each to be able to fusion summon this thing. And when you do, it gains the attack points of both of the monsters that you use to fusion summon it. So if you use a big ol', rock monster like Berserkion or Valkyrion, and a big ol' fiend like Ravio here, you can get this thing up to 7,000 plus attack points. And we have a lot of consistency with this deck as well. So Stratos can search out the new Evil Hero Adjusted Gold, which can be discarded to add either of these fusions from your deck to hand. So we have now 9 ways to open up with one of these fusion spells in our opening hand. On top of that, it's really easy to get the big Magnet Warriors to your hand. You can search them out with the Magnet Warrior engine and be able to generate resources, be able to pull your Berserkion pop cards on the board before going for your big fusion play. So there's a lot of nice things you can do with this deck. Also, the Malicious Edge can be searched for with the Stratos, so it's a big attack point Fiend you can search for, as well as the Adjusted Gold actually has 2,100 attack points as well. So combined with the Magnet Warrior, it's going to go up to over 5,000 attack points for your Dark Gaia. So plenty of ways to OTK with this deck. Also taking advantage of the new skill, the Supreme King's Castle. Going to give you some advantage as well. And of course, we also have a bunch of level 3 rocks in here, so we have access to Gorgonic Guardian, which is an extremely powerful card. Do not underestimate that card. It's extremely good. So yeah, this deck is pretty interesting, and it's I've seen a few different ways people are trying to find ways to get access to Dark Gaia, different rock decks, different engines. But I really like this Magnet Warrior idea. It offers some good consistency, and Magnet Warriors have some really good inherent strengths right now, especially with Gorgonic Guardian being such a powerful card. Alright, next up we got a Gem Knight deck to talk about. So I haven't seen a Gem Knight deck really in this game, I don't think ever. But we have the Lightsworn engine in here. We can mill our Gem Knight fusions to the graveyard, and we're taking advantage of a few new things with this deck. So obviously you get your Gem Knight fusion to hand for free when you can mill it to the graveyard with the Charged Light Brigades and or the Raiden. We also have Crystal Rose in this deck too, and you can banish fusion monsters from your graveyard to bring this back to the board. This is sort of the new addition to the deck that we got, is the Crystal Rose, and as well as the skill, the Fusioning Maestro skill here. Now, this is going to add another Crystal Rose into your deck, but more importantly, when you have Rose on the board, you can, once per duel, take all of your banished fusion monsters and put them back into the deck. So if you guys are familiar with the Gem Knight fusions, you know that they can do some shenanigans here. You know, we have the burn effect here, which is part of the reason why this thing is limited to 1. And some of the other Gem Knights can also help you banish your fusion monsters from the graveyard, in addition to the Crystal Rose. So we have a lot of ways to banish our Gem Knights, and then shuffle them back in the deck and reutilize them. Of course, with Gem Knight Fusion being able to add stuff to hand super easily, and the Crystal Rose becoming free material on the board, you can spam out fusion monsters with this deck really fast. And you have Block Dragon here as well to just be another big old monster you can slam down onto the board. That's also immune to destruction effects. So yeah, Gem Knights actually have some pretty cool tricks here. This Crystal Rose is actually proven to be more effective than I thought it would have been for these decks, for this deck from Melodious. But yeah, I actually really like this. And yeah, we haven't, like I said, haven't seen Gem Knights in this game, I don't think, ever. So it's really nice to see someone finding a way to make them successful. We'll see if they get more support down the line. I know they got a character in Arc 5 who uses them, so some of you guys are gonna hate me for this, but I had to show it because someone hit King of Games with Onomats post ban list, not using Onomata play. Of course, the skill got nerfed into oblivion. You really can't use it anymore. It's just completely dead. So Onomats have to find a new way to play, and we have a King of Games deck here that just decided to go with Battle and Boxer Veil instead of along with Destiny Draw. Instead of the Onomata play. So it gives you a way to go for your go into your Gaga head later on in the game. You can obviously search it out with your skill, with your Destiny Draw, survive with the Veil. Besides that, it's mostly just the same that it was before. You got your Onomatopoeia, your Coats, you got your sister in there to search for bullet Dodo draws to more consistently get to what you need. An extra glove in there so you get the extra resources, you know, the free summon from the graveyard. And this deck can still just easily win games by just putting out the right XYZ against certain decks, right? Patriarch can shut down Harpies, Steel Swarm Roach can shut down certain Synchro decks like Synchrons and others, so yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting that some people found a way to make Onomats still effective here. So if you invested in a deck, spent a bunch of gems on it, and then just watch it get hit by the banners like that, it's not the best deck, but hey, you can hit King of Games with it. Clearly, this is still a cog-worthy deck even post-banless. Alright, next up now we have a Pendulum deck. This is actually a King of Games. I know it has 6 wins for the Spicy Wins. It's actually a King of Games deck, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But, so, Magicians, Pendulums, we've seen a few different ways to make this deck work. I showed a gadget deck last week, and I think put out a video on it as well. Anyway, so we get a lot of different removal with this deck, honestly. Archfiend-Eccentric, we obviously know, can be used to pop back row like an MST, or you can use it as an exiled force to destroy monsters. We all know what this one does, but we also have the Aether, the evil empowering dragon. A lot of people saw this card and started playing with it when Pendulums first came out. Whenever this card is normal or special summoned, which includes Pendulum summoning, you can banish a monster on the board. So it's pretty effective, or pretty good removal. On top of that, we also have the Dragon Magicians here. Of course, you can discard to blow up a back row or monster, depending on which one you have on the field. So we have quite a few ways to remove monsters with this deck. Sky Iris helps protect our Magician Odd Eyes cards from being targeted. Speaking of Odd Eyes, Pendulum Dragon can search out various scales for us, so we can go into our Pendulum summons. And the Pendulum skill that we have, Gazers, is going to give us additional of the Gazer Magicians into our deck to help with our Pendulum summoning also. So running Ritual Beast engine in here, Spiritual Beast Window, well, I mean, not an engine, just Spiritual Beast Window, because, you know, just Window can get you to Apelio, more copies of herself, help you stall out before so you can get to your Pendulum card that you need, which is something that this deck needs, right? Every turn you can just bring back one of your monsters from the extra deck for free. Sometimes you just need to stall out for a few turns before you can build up those resources and start to just, you know, pound your opponent and wear them down by bringing those free Pendulum summons every turn on them. So this deck can do that pretty effectively. Again, plenty of removal options as well, and I like seeing Pendulums having success. So congratulations on having the win streak with this one. Alright, so we have a new way to play Stromberg. The big thing with this is the skill, Draw Reserves. So Draw Reserves is going to let you shuffle 3 cards from your hand at the beginning of your first turn, shuffle 3 cards from your hand back into the deck, and then at the beginning of your next turn, you're going to draw 3 back. So it's kind of like a restart skill, right? You just got to wait a turn to get those cards, and usually if you only have 1 card to survive with on turn 1, you're not going to live, right? Like they're gonna end up killing you, stopping you. But we do have a way to survive with this deck because of Stromberg. Stromberg, obviously, your opponent attacks and their monster gets destroyed. No, if while you have Stromberg on the board, your opponent's monster can attack, they're gonna die. So you can also summon a monster from your deck off of it. So turn 1, you can survive off of just activating Stromberg. And of course, we also have the Glyph in here to search it out, so it's very likely you're gonna have it in that opening hand. So you can activate Stromberg, summon a monster from your deck, try to survive for a turn, and the next turn you're gonna get a clean hand. So if you didn't have the ideal hand you wanted turn 1, you kind of bricked, you can try to shuffle them back in, survive as long as you have a castle in your hand or a way to get to it, and try to dig for the new cards that you need to win. Besides that, it's the same engine that we had before. Psychic Wielder in here, along with Crane to go in for some rank 6 play or rank 3 plays, or for the Synchro 6 plays. Grand Maju is still our win condition here, able to go up to insane attack points when boosted by all the banished cards from Stromberg. Also some other tricks in here. Of course, we have the Econ, second seal monsters go for wins. Sometimes Barkion, which we can go for here as well with the second wielder play. Sometimes that's just enough to win games on its own. You slam it down. And some decks that just run a bunch of trap cards can't do anything at that point. So, yeah, new way to play Stromberg. 7-win win streak with this one. And, yeah, interesting skill. It's a brand new skill that we just got too. And I know, here's another one. Some of you guys are going to hate me for this. I'm sorry. I had to show it. Grucius won a first place anytime with Cyber Dragons, post-banless Cyber Dragons. It means they're only using one of each of these limit 2s, and we're missing the other. I forget the name of the one that's because there's 3 limit 2s that Cyber Dragons now have, so you can't use one of them. So we're running 1 Overload, 1 Cybernetic Fusion, one Cyber Load, as well as 2 Overload. I got ahead of myself here. We got 2 Overload fusions to help replace sort of the missing fusion spells that have been now banned from this deck or limited and that you can no longer use. In addition to that, we also have Master of Fusion as our skill here, so that we have additional ways to get polymerizations to hand, to be able to go into our various Cyber Dragon fusion monsters. Cosmic Cyclone helps us get to it as well, because you can obviously take down your life points to be able to trigger your Master of Fusion skill. A little bit of protection here as well. Book of Moon Kanadi was flipping our opponent's monsters face down. But yeah, Cyber Dragons really have to find a new way to play, because they can't do what they used to before. They can't just run the 4 or 5 monsters, use their skill to gain access to free monsters, then fuse anymore, because they've lost access to just so many of their spell cards. So they need to rely on things like Overload Fusion now, like Master Fusion as a skill, giving them polymerization when they need it. So yeah, the deck has had to change quite a bit, but hey, it's still effective. So again, if you invested money into Cyber Dragons, if you invested your gems into getting this deck together and then watch it get nerfed by the ban list, there's still a way to play the deck. So there's that. Anyways, that's it for this week. If you guys have been watching our top 5 decks of the format, we have our top 5 budget and free-to-play decks coming out later on this week. I think on Wednesday that's going to be. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful rest of the day.